This is a tillering stick.
Close enough. Cutting it down to 6 feet. Yep, get that one running grain level. Well, what we're going to do now is run a chalk line down the center. You can do it with a straight edge too. Yep. What that will allow us to do, because the stave isn't exactly straight as a sawn board would be, as the string shows, it's going to allow us to take a little bit off the fatter sides and straighten it out a bit.
So ultimately the bow comes out straight, up and down.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be perfectly straight, but that's the beauty of these kind of bows, is they don't have to be like perfectly straight.
Yeah, it's not a fiberglass longbow.
I measured from the end down to halfway down, it's called center, 3 feet. And the arrow really wants to come off close to center. So I'm going to give it like an inch off center, and then down here, that's about your handle. So now we're going to draw on the, shape it down first with a pencil, and then the drawing the center, because it's like way down.
Yeah, you can't, because you actually hold the bow in the center, right? For the most part.
Well, this part of your hand wants to be there. That's the part that's really doing most of the holding of the bow.
Yep.
So now we're sketching on the taper.
Yep.
You want to be off right like that.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm going to put this in here. Yeah, this, you could probably bring it in just a tad.
Yep. Now you go, like you say, without that center line, you really wouldn't.
Yeah, it's hard to straighten the bow.
Right.
Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfectly straight, because all it's got to do is bend and flick an arrow. But the straighter it is, the nicer. This end doesn't require much at all, because it's got just how it split out. That looks pretty good.
That would be the handle right there. You can see here how that's the center line, and this is the out one side, and this is the other side, and all this is going to be cut off. But that line goes right down to the center of the bow. Right here is going to be the handle. This is the actual center. Handle's going to be right like that, and then it tapers back down as you go to the end.
Shaping the sides down now. That's pretty good for that one.
Good over?
Yeah. So go over on this other side here.
Just a little tight, a little tighter. That's the good thing about that little spoke shave. You can just take less and less and less.
Yeah, it's
more controllable.
That's the word. That's the word. Now we've got it, the edges cleaned up to this point where you can really see the grain. Yeah, this is the a good example of how it lays in like leaf springs, where the grain ends at different points, each level, all the way down until we get to this one spot where that whole tapering thing ends.
Yeah, you can see it actually makes like little V's because we're going down that way, so that it points.
Chevrons. And what we did was put a preliminary line down the side of the bow to figure how thick we're going to make most of the leaf. We're going out about 1.5 feet. Well, actually, yeah, 1.5 feet, 1 foot 1/2 inch
From the center.
from the handle. Yeah.
So the handle isn't the center technically.
No. Yeah. Right. The center's here.
Yep.
But we can't put the handle in the center. Then the arrow would be like off. So we're kind of trying to split the difference and give the arrow most of the center, but keep a little to ourselves. But we want it to bend evenly. So I'm going to come back. This was 1.5 inch. I'm going to just do 1 foot down
From the bottom of the handle.
Bottom of the handle. Yeah. That should allow for fairly even bend. There. So this side, I'm gonna have to recount this side. It's thicker on over here than it is on this side, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I need to take it down about 1/8 of an inch. Now I've got down to the right level of grain here on this side to match the other end. Now before I start shaping the front of the bow here, I'm going to work from the tip back to the same point and get a nice even stack of grain on the tip. I want the tip a little reinforced. Most of the bend is going to happen from about here to about in here.
So you leave the front flat and you round off the back.
Well, theoretically, the back is. Yeah, this is the back. That's the face. Sinew back. That's the back. This is the back. This is the face. Whatever. Yeah, the side that faces you, we're gonna
Just round.
is rounded.
Yeah.
And
So if you're holding the bow, just so we get our terminology straight, the front of the bow that you don't see is the face.
that's the back.
That's the back of the bow.
Yeah.
See,
It doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to it. That's where the confusion comes in.
Yeah.
Because you think of the back as like, this is my back, this is my face.
Yeah, but you bend this way.
Yeah.
And so the back, it bends the same way you do.
Right. So the back is actually the front of the bow, the part you don't see.
Right.
That's the back of the bow.
Correct.
So the face of the bow is the part of the bow that's next to your face.
Yeah.
That's a good way to think of it.
Yeah.
This is the face, this is the back.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at a person, if you actually think about it this way, if you were looking at a person, you'd see their face and you don't see their back.
Yeah.
So there you go. So the bow is actually like a person.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does, but I've always considered a leading edge to be the face of something, you know, and so that's where the confusion does lie. So anyway, now that we've got all of that figured out, not one single drop of rum.
We haven't even got a rum ration.
So, I'm just going to round her off here. Set her down into the clamp gut.
So just to emphasize You actually drew a line right down the center of the face. If I can get in on it. That little pencil line right there, that's the face, and you're rounding it off on each side, so you maintain your center.
Yeah, and
just like that.
The pencil mark is to keep me honest, so
yep.
I don't take any more off of that.
Too much off inside.
Yeah. This feels like it's giving more, but
yeah, you can see the what you call the stacking of the grain. How it just goes, and then you get to the handle, which is here, the center of the bow, and it's all one, and then it goes back down the other side, like that.
Tip out. That nice curve. And then draw in.
So this is the knock where the string's going to go.
Right.
Now the top line, that's where the bows, you're going to cut all that off.
I'm gonna cut all that away.
That's gone. Gotcha.
And then I'll carve this in, shape it around.
That's where our string's going.
Okay, yeah. So here we are. Cutting the tip off. Now carving the actual knot. I left it extra thick up here, and I may carve that down if we need to, if we find out in the tillering that we need to.
Better to have, you can always take more off, you can't put any back on.
Yeah, I left enough material here so you could do anything with it that you want to, really. I mean, for fun. Carve a face in here with his hands coming around and his knees, like a little totem guy.
Yep.
And it wouldn't really affect the integrity of the bow at all. It's just like extra material. For tillering, we're going to use this nylon cord right here, and it should be good enough. And the knock seems to be sufficient to hold it.
So while Brian is busy notching the other side of the bow, you mentioned tillering. Pretty simple. This is a tillering stick, and this is where the handle of the bow will go. And then what you do is you put your string in each one of these notches, like this, until you get to full draw, which, like say you get a 28-inch draw, whatever it is. You get it back to full draw, and then you actually can look at your limbs to make sure that they're symmetrical, meaning that there's equal amount of wood and bend on each side. No, basically you're just taking a chainsaw file and polishing up that notch. Okay, we're going to put a tillering string on. Basically this is just some nylon, like clothesline. Doesn't stretch, this one. And I'm going to put an ugly overhand knot in it, because this isn't the one that's going to live on it. There. Aha! Look at that. 7.5. You gotta be kidding me. What? That's perfect. It's within a 1/16 of an inch. A lot of that just has to do with paying attention to the grain. It's exactly, yeah.
What he's saying. How's that looking?
It looks, honestly, the top's a little straighter than the bottom.
All right. I'm going to put it on the tillering stick.
Okay, now this is not a crossbow.
Though it could be.
Though it does look like one, doesn't it?
See how it is at that point.
Try to look. Hold that up again, Brian.
Take this off square. Does that look? Edit.
Your left, I think, is a little more a little straighter than. It's hard for me to tell looking through
I'm going
this.
to go back a couple more notches, I think.
Okay.
Really test. Still like to see more distribution of the bend,
Mm-hmm.
which might just be pushing this build-up back a little bit. You know, take some more material out of here
Yep.
and here.
Because that handle is pretty long.
Yeah, I think that's
I'm not saying the handle, but the center.
right. We got it a little stiff in the middle.
What kind of oil?
I use linseed oil. Cut it with turpentine first
Okay, good.
for penetration. So
Sorry.
there it is.